All eyes will be on Prestbury Park this week for the greatest show on turf. And this year's Cheltenham Festival promises to be bigger than ever before, with a host of Grade 1 horses ready to dazzle over the famous jumps. Mirror sportsman in the know David Yates grilled an Uber of leading trainers before the festival to get the lowdown on the top horses to follow this week. Here, we get the expert verdict from the likes of Paul Nicholls, Lavelle and more on some of the finest on show. Clandere Bull, Gold Cup, Friday, 3.30, smart chaser in his first 2 seasons, winning 3 of 10 over fences, but has taken his form to an entirely new level this term. Opened the campaign with a 4th to Bristol Demai in Haydock's Betfair Chase in November, but starting at 12-1, took a big step forward to land the King George at Kempton on Boxing Day, travelling really well to the final fence and running on strongly to beat the top class but injury-plagued Thistlecrack by a length and a half. Faced 3 rivals in the Grade 2 Denman Chase, rescheduled from Newbury, at Ascot last month and not troubled to justify odds of 2-5, effortlessly bounding clear of tour effort to win by 11 lengths. Nicholls says, "He has been a bit babyish and last year we couldn't train him as we wanted, but we knew he was going to be a proper 3-mile chaser. We knew he would improve enormously from the Betfair Chase to Kempton, and he won the King George very well. He hasn't won at Cheltenham in 4 starts, but he has performed very well there on 3 occasions." Quarto Star won his first Gold Cup when he was 7, so Clandere Bull is the right age. Over all the horses running in the Gold Cup, he is the improving youngster, and can run a big race. Newsboys' verdict: almost certainly wrong to hold his lack of a previous Cheltenham success against him. His efforts there equate to his performances at other tracks in 2017. He is a better horse this winter and there is more to come. Odds: 4-1 Quail Destin, Triumph Hurdle, Friday, 1.30, tough front runner has won 5 of his 6 races since his purchase from France. Second on British debut at Chepstow, then followed a victory at Kempton in October with success in Grade 2 Triumph Hurdle trial at Cheltenham in November, defying penalty at the same level at Doncaster 4 weeks later. Fought on tenaciously to deny Jali by a neck in Top Tier Finale Juvenile Hurdle at Chepstow over Christmas before 6-length score at Haydock last time. Could be joined by fellow French import Pic D'Orhy, runner-up in a Grade 1 Juvenile Hurdle at Autel at the beginning of November. Nicholls says, "This lad has it all and is a proper jumping horse. He was a bit green when he got beat at Chepstow, but hasn't been defeated since. He won a Grade 1 at Chepstow, he's won a couple of Grade 2s, one at Cheltenham, then came back the other day and won at Haydock. I was surprised how well he won there. He was big and well, but I thought he'd need the run, which he did, and he still managed to win. I know Sir Eric is a very short price, but he'll have to be tough to go past this lad. He jumps well and keeps galloping, so he is one of our leading festival chances. Pic D'Orhy is a very interesting juvenile from France. We took him to Wincanton for a racecourse gallop, and we were thrilled with what we saw." Newsboys' verdict: loves a fight and keeps on winning, including a victory at the highest level. Has plenty of experience but might just be vulnerable to a horse with more scope for progress and, on a BHA perch of 146, is still £9 shy of the rating Defi du Soisel had before his Triumph Hurdle success 2 years ago. Pic D'Orhy is useful, but hard to assess. Odds: 13-2 Paisley Park, Stayers Hurdle, Thursday, 3.30, successful in one of his 4 outings as a novice last season, rounding off the campaign with a tailed-off 13th, visored for the first time, in the Albert Bartlett. Much improved form this season, without the visor, beginning the campaign with a handicap hurdles win at Aintree in October, following up at Haydock the following month. Stepped back up to Grade 1 company, he gave his trainer and jockey Aidan Coleman a first victory at the top level in Ascot's Long Walk Hurdle 3 days before Christmas, beating West Approach by 2 lengths. Carrying a £6 penalty for that win, he powered clear of the same rival for a 12-length supremacy in Cheltenham's Grade 2 Cleve hurdle at the end of January. Lavelle says, "The point of bringing him to the Cleve hurdle was that for us to know that, while the Albert Bartlett was a complete non-event, it wasn't a reflection of him not handling Cheltenham. I'm very glad that we went to Cheltenham. He looked pretty special out there and that just put the doubts behind us. He's a different horse this year, he's more streetwise, he's a professional, and his form shows that. He doesn't use any more energy than he has to, and then, when Aidan Coleman winds him up, he just picks up and picks up." Newsboys' verdict: Cleve hurdle rump last time emphatically answered questions about his ability to show his best at Cheltenham and, having taken his form to a new level over 3 miles this season, he rates very much the horse to beat. Odds: 7-4 Kayley Wollacott Allure, Arkle Chase, Tuesday, 2.10, sprang 33-1 surprise in bumper at Grand National Meeting in 2017 and returned to Aintree for emotional success from Vision Day flows in Grade 1 Top Novices Hurdle last April. Made chasing debut at Cheltenham in November and looked a natural, jumping well and storming up the hill to beat Dynamite Dollars by 7 lengths. Not so good on softer ground when, as the 8-11 favourite, he finished third to the same rival in Grade 1 Henry VIII Novices Chase at Sandown in December, struggling from some way out to be beaten 12 lengths at the line. Wollacott says, "Cheltenham was the perfect start, just amazing. It was asking a lot of him, straight out in a Grade 2 and, while it was disappointing not to win at Sandown, he didn't like the ground and there were lots of positives to come out of it. We were going to go for the Lightning Novices Chase at Doncaster, but the weather hasn't helped anyone, and we all agreed that the best plan was to go straight to Cheltenham. He's been bucking and squealing. He had a racecourse gallop at Exeter and Richard Johnson was very pleased. He runs his best races off the back of a break. We do plenty of jumping with him at home, and he's always been a very natural jumper, so we're excited." Newsboys' verdict: considered to be more of a prospect for Aintree, not surprisingly given his wins there in 2017 and 2018, but prepared for the Arkle after his impressive victory over course and distance in November, and very much a runner back here on decent ground. Odds: 100-30 Henry de Bromhead Monolith, Ryanair Chase, Thursday, 2.50, Grade 1 winner as a novice chaser, running second to presenting Percy in the RSA Insurance Novices Chase over 3 miles last March before falling at Punchestown. Followed down Royal third in November with 7 lengths second to Kemboy in 3 mile Savills Chase, Grade 1, at Leopardstown over Christmas before all the way score in Red Mills Chase at Gowran Park latest. De Bromhead says, "Our lad was second to Penhillinen, 3 mile, Albert Bartlett. He was keen enough when second to presenting Percy in an RSA and I thought Kemboy got a very good ride from David Mullins at Leopardstown. I think 2.5 miles is on the sharp side for him. I believe he looks more like a 3-miler, but I don't know whether he'll get up the hill over 3 miles, 2.5 furlongs. But he's a grand horse, he seems in good form, not a bother on him, and he'll give it his all." Newsboys' verdict: thoroughly likeable front-runner yet to finish out of the first 3 when completing, has fallen twice, and short to give it another good go. Almost certainly the right choice to go for the Ryanair in preference to the Gold Cup, but fears he could be vulnerable late on at this level. Odds: 9-2 Nigel Twiston-Davies Al Dancer, Supreme Novices Hurdle, Tuesday, 1.30, unbeaten in 4 attempts over hurdles this season, beginning obstacles career with novice successes at Carlisle in October and Fosselas in November. Sent into handicap company at Cheltenham in December, he scored by 11 lengths before warming up for Cheltenham in the Betfair Hurdle, run at Ascot after equine flu caused the cancellation of Newbury, last month. Sent off the 5-2 favourite in a field of 14 and travelled with menace before surging clear under the trainer's Sunsam to beat Magic Dancer by 3 3/4 lengths. Twiston-Davies says, he had good bumper form, he was 4th in the Aintree bumper last year, and he's a good jumper, so we thought he would make a good hurdler. The Betfair hurdle was a competitive race and he did it very well. It's a handicap, but he was one of the higher rated ones. He was 4 pounds off top weight, and one slight problem was that he didn't really settle, so we thought he might not get home as we were watching it, but he did. Hopefully, it will be a faster run race in the Supreme and he will probably settle a bit better. I think he's got a very good chance. We won it with Arctic Kinsman, a 50-to-1 shot, in 1994, and Al Dancer's a better horse than he was going into the race. Newsboy's verdict has taken a big step forward on his last 3 starts, and gives the impression he's barely scratched beneath the surface. Proven at Cheltenham, admittedly on the new course rather than the old course that stages the Supreme novices, and the fact he's rated £2 superior to last year's winner Somerville Boy speaks volumes about his chance in the festival opener. Odds, 7-2. Pat Kelly presenting Percy, Gold Cup, Friday, 3.30, victorious at the past 2 Cheltenham festivals for his reclusive trainer, owner Philip Reynolds talks on behalf of the 8-year-old's connections, winning the Pertemps final hurdle in 2017 and last year's RSA Insurance Novices chase by an emphatic 7 lengths. Favourite for the Gold Cup ever since, but limited by fast ground to just 1 start this season, when landing the Gelmoy hurdle at Gowran Park for the 2nd year running, so makes his fencing debut for the campaign in the Gold Cup. Reynolds says, he's in great form, we were around the same place at the same time last year. We know where he is, versus where he was last year when he was going for the RSA, and we're every bit as happy, if not happier. It's not as if we set out to have one run with Percy during the year, but the season has thrown up for us what it has thrown up for everybody else and we know it can be done. He ran through the finishing line at Gowran, and that was all we wanted to see. I've no concern that he won't have jumped to fence in anger. Newsboy's verdict is a natural round Cheltenham, and was the obvious market leader for the Gold Cup after last year's RSA romp, understating it to say his preparation for this year's meeting defies convention, however, with just 1 run over hurdles since. Connections' wariness of fast ground this winter is another concern should the terrain dry during festival week, so, for all his undoubted talent, has plenty of questions to answer. Odds, 7-2. Joseph O'Brien Fakir Dowdairies, Supreme Novices Hurdle, Tuesday, 1.30, French import was 0-4 over obstacles in his homeland before switch to Ireland. Made his debut for his new yard at Cork in January, beating 21 rivals by 3.5 lengths and more, before following up by 13 lengths from stablemate Fine Brunello in Grade 2 at Cheltenham 3 weeks later, a performance that caught the eye of JP McManus, who added the son of Capguard to his festival team. O'Brien says, he looked very good in Cheltenham the last day and I think he has a big chance. As far as 4-year-olds as legitimate contenders go, Binocular nearly did it, when second to Captain CB in 2008, but I don't think there's been too many 4-year-olds below 16-1 and 20-1 that have tried to actually do it. I have no problem in running horses against each other, I don't care, as long as one of them is in front, but I suppose it would make sense to split them up. Sir Eric doesn't have the entries in the novice races, whereas Fakir does. Newsboy's verdict, Yard has an embarrassment of riches in the juvenile hurdler department, and he could hardly have done more since his arrival from France. On the negative side, the form of the Cheltenham race is open to question, and the festival curtain raiser represents his toughest test by some way. Odds, 5-1. Sir Eric, Triumph Hurdle, Friday, 1.30, useful form in 5 starts on the flat for his current trainer's father Aidan. He won twice, including at listed level, and signed off with a 3rd in the Group 2 Long Distance Cup at Ascot last October. He has made a very promising start to his new career by landing both outings over hurdles. sent off the 11-10 favourite for his obstacles debut against 27 opponents at Leopardstown over Christmas, and jumped 12 in the main to get the better of Tiger Tap Tap by a neck. Stepped up to Grade 1 level for the Spring Juvenile Hurdle at Leopardstown's Dublin Racing Festival. He made the running, always travelling smoothly, before powering clear to hold stable companion Gardens of Babylon by 6 lengths. O'Brien says, "We've never hidden the regard we've held him in. He was obviously a good horse on the flat and he's taken to hurdling well. He ran a nice race first time and he improved a good wee bit on his second run at Leopardstown. It was a messy enough race. He had an uncontested lead and sprinted away from them. You would have said stamina would always have been his forte, but he showed plenty of speed. He'll have to step up again, maybe a career best to win it, but we'd be hopeful he's capable of doing so. He's 2 from 2 and, while you would love to have more experience, he's hugely exciting." Newsboys' verdict: a stayer on the flat and should profit from going up in trip, as many Triumph Hurdle horses do. The yard produced Ivanovic Gorbatov to land the juvenile test from Apple's Jade 3 years ago, although Aidan O'Brien officially held the license, and, in a field of lightly raced 4-year-olds, he sets the standard. Odds: 6-5 Philip Hobbs Daffy Du Soizu JLT Novices Chase, Thursday, 1.30, Imperious as a juvenile hurdler 2 seasons ago, winning all 7 starts, including the 2017 Triumph Hurdle. Limited to just 2 outings in a write-off campaign last winter but more sparkle over fences this term, stepped forward from last of 5 over 2 miles here in November to score at Exeter the following month and, although overhauled by Lost in Translation, who was receiving £3 over the JLT course and distance on New Year's Day, kept on strongly to turn the tables at level weights in the Scilly Isles Novices Chase at Sandown last month. Hobbs says, "Like a number of our horses, he wasn't healthy last season, so it was a non-event. I have a theory about his first run over fences at Cheltenham. I think it might have been the sun. He didn't jump the 3 fences up the straight very well, then he jumped very well down the back straight and completely ballooned the last. Second time at Cheltenham, we were giving weight to Lost in Translation. If you change the weights round, that could have made the difference, and he was definitely in front too long that day." Newsboys' verdict: dispelled doubts about his staying power over 2.5 miles when staying on stoutly at Sandown to register a first Grade 1 over fences, but a concern that both his defeats over fences have come at Cheltenham. Odds: 3-1 Mick Shannon Glenforza, Arkle Chase, Tuesday, 2.10, returned from layoff with 2 seconds over hurdles before posting 3 straight wins over fences. Trained in partnership with Henrietta Knight, he won handicap chases over 3 miles at Chepstow and 2.5 at Kempton before shocking the 1-4 Hotpot and former Arkle favourite Kalashnikov by 19 lengths in the Grade 2 Kingmaker Novices Chase over 2 miles at Sandown last month. Shannon says, he had a problem with his hock which kept him off track for about 18 months, and then when he came back we had to get a few runs into him. We started off further over fences, and were thinking 2.5 miles for him, the JLT or the Close Brothers, Novices Handicap Chase, but the race at Sandown was pretty much the only place we could go after the equine flu break. I thought they might go quick enough for him over 2 miles and get him on his head in the Kingmaker. I respect Kalashnikov, who is a good horse, but our lad showed plenty of speed, and the rest is history. He has always been a good jumper, Hen has always been raving about him, so I don't think jumping round Cheltenham will be a problem, and he's definitely still improving." Newsboys' verdict: began life in novice handicap chases off 114 and now rated 150, with the promise of more to come. Has earned a crack at the top novices, but likely Kalashnikov was way below his best at Sandown, so plenty more needed to come out on top in an Arkle. Odds: 7-2 Rebecca Curtis Lisnagroska, Albert Bartlett Novices Hurdle, Friday, 2.50, winning point-to-pointer began hurdling career with a second at Fosselas in November and would have gone close in 3-mile Grade 2 at Cheltenham the following month but for a mistake at the final flight. Got off the mark under rules with head call over Dicky Diver over 2.5 at Chepstow in January before personal best back at 3 in Grade 2 at Haydock last time, beating Ask Ben by a taking 10 lengths. Curtis says, Haydock wouldn't be a track that would have suited him, but he was very impressive. He has just improved with every single run. He's a very, very good horse. He travels, he jumps, he keeps trying and he's got all the attributes to be a very good 3-miler. He came out of Haydock very well. Cheltenham will suit him and he's as good as 2013 Albert Bartlett winner at Fisher's Cross was at the same stage of his career. I'd be very hopeful. Newsboys verdict.